Greetings, Bring a Trailer. We're live in St. Paul this evening with Boxster, and we're gonna perform kind of a trio of displaying this vehicle. Bob is here, our paint technician, and we're gonna do a cold start, a little bit of driving video, and we're also Bob's gonna like touch on the incredible patina that this car had as far as its first paint, and all the work he did through his 4-stage like clay bar compound ceramic coating, and some of the nuanced, which a lot of 993s you've seen have had clear coat work and had their clear coat resprayed. A big reason for that is the clear coat from this era, just a lot of time it breaks down by the time, you know, it's a 30-year-old clear coat at this point. We're gonna show this car in a couple different lights. Right now the sun is nearly down, so it looks pretty dark. We were in full light earlier today. In the middle of the daytime, ocean blue is very dynamic. It almost has violet undertones, and it's just a really dynamic, deep bass metallic. And Bob is here with us today to talk about all the work he did to get this finish looking the way it is today. The car of course, is all first paint. Meters out between 4 and 5 mils throughout. And it had what you would call, I don't know, what do you call it, Bobby? Like typical road grime?
Road film and bonded surface contaminants, and a substantial amount of that, Steve. Just a substantial amount of it that we were able to remove by the clay bar. Beyond that, moderate to significant swirling throughout the paint, and a few isolated defects that we ended up wet sanding, a few scratches on the roof. There was some chemical etching on the driver rear hip.
So scratches on the roof, Bobby, is that like a typical, is that just from like just in the clear coat, or you mean like into the paint?
Yep, those were just within the clear coat, but they were what we would call random isolated deep scratches. So deeper than your typical swirls that you'll find on the paint that aren't going to be removed through a polishing or compounding exercise. Those type of defects require wet sanding to remove. Along with that etching on the driver rear hip, that also required some wet sanding.
So when you say etching, Bob, what do you mean by that?
So
like an orange peel?
No, as near as I could tell, that defect
Like, can you point at it now?
It was on the driver's side. I can't find it anymore. I think we all but removed that, but it was in this general area here. And by my best estimation, that was a result of some type of chemical or potentially being parked in an underground garage and having some mineral-rich water drip on it and sit there, and those minerals were able to etch the clear coat over time. Yeah,
because I've seen on a couple recent auctions, 993s have had clear coat work. So do you, is that something where if like a novice body person saw it, would they think it needs more clear coat?
I think typically the first step that they're going to do is they're going to try to buff that out. It's a quick and easy exercise. If that doesn't do it, they may try to wet sand it and then cut and buff it. Usually it's when you start to see substantial hazing, crazing, delamination, or actual missing clear coat that they're going to jump right to that clear coat, scuff, respray exercise. The other major restoration piece we did on this was removing the badge. There was a substantial amount of corrosion under that badge, and I think, again, we got you some photos of that. When we got that badge off, there was quite a bit of etching in the paint underneath that, so ended up wet sanding around that area as well.
Nice. Got a nick here, can barely see it. I mean, you've got that's just road grime, your stickers,
you know, we want to make sure we're preserving this paint. It's original paint, so we're going to chase after those defects, but we're not going to chase them too far. We want to make sure we leave paint for the next guy to do work on should it accumulate anything in its next life.
Yeah, of course. Greetings, FormaRara. We're live. We're just doing a little cold start video on Oceanblau. And we've got our buddy Trevor here. Trevor, how's our temp here on cold start? Ice cold. She's been sitting in here for about a week. And idling clean at about, what is that, 900 RPMs? There's a huge following of 964 lovers. I personally love the 993. It is, it's kind of becoming the variant or the generation that I want to focus in. And the reason is it's like the right, for me, it's the right zone of speed and also like, you know, vintage, you know, heritage as far as like the romance of that air-cooled engine. Like if you just don't get that in a 996. But yet you have the protection of like Vari-O-Ram and the technology that went into these cars being the final air-cooled specimens.
And you do get some of the creature comforts.
Yeah, of course. The AC blows cold. The seats are comfortable. But I do appreciate that Tony Hatter, so Tony Hatter's design team, Porsche was broke when they made the 993. They literally had no dough. It was right before the Boxster and the 996 and the Cayenne came out. And that's, you know, as everyone knows, love them or hate them, those vehicles saved the brand. So their lack of budget is actually really cool because that's why this interior stood the test of time. Because Tony has said the only thing that corporate gave him a budget for was to change the door panels. So it's like the door panels are different, but everything else is, you know, spot on 964. Same ledge, same placement of your glove box, your controls, your gauge cluster, your dash. But yeah, I've driven 993s. They're really great in the city. I love them very much. Second and third gear is all you need. They're really long gears in this car as well. As you can see, I'm in second right now. She comes right up to 5,000. It's just got a really, really smooth power band. The wide body really, really connects on the corners. It's got a lot of grip between the rear end. And you can hear the Vari-O-Ram open at high RPMs. Still in fourth, 5,000 RPMs. Coming up on a little Miata and a couple safety cars here. We'll go up to fifth, bring her down a touch. It's just a fun little visceral vehicle, this thing.